Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ladies of Sosa podcast. My name is Sahra.
And my name is Christine.
And today we're doing a special episode dedicated to the South Sudanese mothers in our community. We wanted to explore the struggles, the triumphs, the highs and the lows of being not just a mother, but a South Sudanese mother, because there's so many different types of nuances as far as our culture, traditions, experiences. So, Christine, do you want to introduce our lovely guest?
Yes, so today we're doing a special Mother's Day episode. Mother's Day is actually tomorrow, but when this episode comes out, it's going to be Tuesday for everybody else. So we decided to bring together a few of our mothers here in the DFW Metroplex from different generations to kind of give different perspectives. And we have a first time thing here. As you can see, we have a lot of beautiful, delicious dishes here that were prepared by one of our mothers. So I'll let the mothers go ahead and introduce themselves. And then we have one non-mother, actually.
We have a daughter.
We have a daughter.
Yes.
Exactly.
Which you guys know. So you guys know her already. But go ahead and introduce yourselves, ladies. We can start with Emma. Emma, go ahead and introduce. It's been a while, Emma.
I know.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Emma. I only have one daughter. Y'all can follow me on my Instagram at East African Queen 3_.
Hi everyone, I'm Vaida. I'm a daughter and I work as a teacher and I'm so excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Regina. I am a mom of 2 and you guys can follow me at Regina Sima on all social platforms.
Hi everybody, my name is Tokriel Manuel. I'm a mother of 4 and I have Facebook only. I'm old school.
And Gabriel actually is the one who cooked all of the dishes for us today. Do you want to explain the dishes or tell us a little bit about each dish and the culture behind it?
So I'll start with combo, because of course South Sudanese with combo.
Please bring the combo to the front of the line.
Yeah, because it's like with the seed, it's the combo.
Please present the combo, Emma.
And then I did regular.
Okay.
With rice, and then I just added a pasta for our non-Sudanese friends, just so that they can feel included.
Right.
But I told them, I'm like, being a mother and being a Mother Day is special, and you guys invited me to come here. I have to feed my babies. All of you are my babies. I'm an aunt and, a cousin or whatever, but I needed to feed all of you. So it was my pleasure to do that. And so...
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
And before we move on from the food, I wanted to highlight a few of the dishes because, we are South Sudanese, but a lot of these dishes cross over on the continent. So I want to highlight asida is how we call it, but it is also referred to as
ugali.
Ugali,
Kenya.
Fufu.
Yes.
And what else? Is it? I only know ugali.
Yeah, is there anywhere else?
Sadza in the south of Africa.
Oh, I know they have it in South Africa too. They have their own version.
Yeah, they have it everywhere.
Yeah, so
it's one of the commonest in Africa.
I was born in Kenya, so we call it ugali there.
And then, but in South Sudan, it's asida.
Yeah, explain how it's prepared or what it consists of, because I feel like that's one of the dishes that throws people off the most of the time.
Yeah,
most of it, like how we do it in South Sudan. You boil the water, and then when the water boils, then you put the coarse part of it before you put the regular flour. So you let the water boil, put the flour, let it cook and literally cooked, and then add the flour, and then you mix it all together, let it cook for another how long, and then take it out when it's ready to cook. And the experienced family members, elderlies, they will know if it's not cooked.
That's true.
Y'all will not know, but they will know.
Yeah.
Like
my mom used to.
My mother-in-law would be like, if it was, so the elderlies will know if it wasn't cooked right, because you didn't let it cook so much on the fire before that. Yeah. And of course, with combo, it's different version. People cook it differently, but it's asida and combo, or asida and kisra, or with anjera. That's because we grew up in Ethiopia. So we added, anjera on, but mostly it's, asida and combo. That's what we eat most of the time. That's most of us were raised on that, grew up on that. And then, there's regular. We either use spinach or use the regular, and you either eat it with bread or with kisra or with rice, depending with where,
your preference.
Preference and how you grew up. But those are our essential food. You cannot have combo with no asida or no kisra.
Right.
Yeah.
What is y'all's favorite? Do you guys prefer kisra or asida?
Kisra.
For me, it depends on the mullah.
Yes. It depends.
Yeah.
So, do you like combo?
I do like combo. With combo, I prefer with asida.
With the Sita?
Yeah.
I prefer with injera or kisera.
Because you were born in Ethiopia.
Yeah, because I was born in
Kenya.
Nairobi.
But then we went to Ethiopia and ate there a lot.
Yes. But I was
Injera.
born in like that, that border. So I prefer kisera or injera. Anyway.
One thing I just noticed, a lot of our dishes could be made vegetarian. So I feel like
That
that's
is true,
that's a really good attribute.
And that's what I did.
all
I didn't
vegetarian.
put any meat in this for the vegetarian with the
I
rice.
love that.
And then, for these that don't do pork, but they do beef. And then, of course, combo, you cannot do it without beef because South Sudanese love their meat.
yeah.
Like, literally. So it has,
But
the
you
meat
know
in it.
what? I've had a dish at Moxie's. Moxie's is like a restaurant here in Dallas, for those of you guys who are not from here, that tasted just like combo. And it was part of their vegetarian meal.
Are you
Yes, with
serious?
the peanut butter taste and the spinach. It was so similar. It tasted very much like combo.
What was it called?
Somebody ate South Sudanese food and
Maybe.
stole it.
And everybody was in love with that
I
dish.
bet they
I was like, listen, y'all need to
Business
come.
idea.
Okay.
I think what
Literally.
throws people
South
off
Sudanese
about
restaurant,
Yes.
vegan or vegetarian.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the craze right
Yes,
now.
with this-
So.
I know, but they love their meat. They love their
Yeah.
meat. But I think most people, it's the okra in our combo that throws them off because people don't like the sliminess. But if you make it right, it's not too slimy.
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
to put the right spinach or the right stuff to not make it too slimy for other people. Like when I try to make it for my kids and it's too slimy, I'm like, the American kids. So I have to balance the thing, but it's just making the right combination of things. And I was blessed. Although I grew up in Kenya and then came to United States, I was blessed by my sister in Minnesota, Elizabeth Alwell-Maniel. She taught me how to cook, Sudanese food. So people were confused. You didn't even grow up in Sudan. You grew up in Kenya and then you came to America. You're educated, but you can cook. And I'm like, I was blessed with family that cook. But as I was telling you, the hardest thing is kamunia. That thing is
Oh, yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
it. But that's South Sudanese men's favorite.
That's like chitlings.
Yeah.
If you want to get something that's comparable
Similar,
in American
or-
food.
Yeah.
I'm glad
I don't
it's
like
hard to
liver.
make though, because then you'll actually take your time. You know what you're doing. If it was easy, I feel like a lot of people would be eating bad komania.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8 hours to 10 hours. You don't want that. You are awake from the beginning to the end.
Well, that was important to highlight because Regina, you said earlier that cooking is a part of like motherhood, especially in the South Sudan, not even South Sudanese, African community. Like as a woman, you're expected to cook. And we'll get more into like all of the roles and stuff that y'all play as mothers. I said we. 'Cause loading.
Pending.
Okay, like Christine said. So let's, kind of, you want to move on from the food?
Yeah, shift gears.
Yeah,
like
shift
you
gears.
were
Yeah.
perfect, spot on.
Okay.
Basically, introducing it with food is like an important thing to do because our mothers play such a important role in our community. And growing up, I feel like with the munasabats and the gatherings and everything, it was food. Like they would stay up all night most of the time. All of the aunties would be at like one auntie's house. They would go to the farm, get like, kill like a goat or a cow or whatever, and then spend the whole night cooking. And then we'd show up the next day and have all this beautiful food. And I think that now growing up, I'm learning to appreciate what all goes into that because they would go to work all day and then come and cook all night. So I think we should start off by kind of highlighting what the mothers mean for us in the South Sudanese community and how everything that happens revolves around like the mother's support,
Cooking.
Yeah,
The support. And like cooking, again, we're supposed to move on from it, but it crosses like tribal lines too. Because, when you cook combo, when you cook all these different like meals, it's not about tribe at that point. Like we all eat that, from my understanding, right?
Yeah.
Every tribe eats combo, we eat asida, or at least some version of the food so we can all kind of relate.
Right.
And I think it really does like kind of bring community in our community and how mothers play a part in that by cooking.
And different tribes have different dishes that they like specialize in, but I think that sense of like bonding for women like I think comes around. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to transfer to us living in diaspora since we don't really have that same culture. And I want to ask the young mothers, like, do you feel or how do you think it's going to be for our generation since we're not as connected as the mothers currently are, our elders and stuff? How do you feel like we're going to be able to, I guess, be there to support each other because it does take a village, especially when you have kids. It's good when, all of the mothers can come together, the kids can get to know each other, spend time together. But I don't know how that's going to translate,
yeah,
you
with the new
know, with this
generation.
new world that we live in?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be the same, just not in the aspect of gathering and cooking all night,
Mm-hmm.
but food brings people together. It doesn't matter where you're from, we all eat. And food brings us together. So it might look like everyone cooking in their own homes and then bringing the food to a one place, and then we all gather around the food and enjoy it, and the kids are still able to interact with each other and play around like we used to. But it's just the aspect of staying all night at one person's house and cooking. It might not be like that, but gathering around food is always
We might
going
order
to be the
from
same.
like a South Sudanese restaurant.
Oh yeah, in the future.
The soft life generation.
Yes, this new generation of
But
like quick
It's also,
efficiency.
educating our, the young generation in America. This is our food. Because they go to school, and of course it's chicken nuggets, and they come home, that's all they want. And I have cooked all this, and they're like, and they walk away. We know when they're younger, from the time they are born until 5 years old, they want combo all day and a cedar. As soon as they go first grade, they come home and they want
chicken nuggets
and McDonald's. Yeah. So it's telling them, you need to try your, educating.
I can relate.
Like it's
Imani-
a constant fight with my kids. Like that's different cultures.
Amani love her some McDonald's.
Yeah, but at first it was straight mullah. Like she's like mullah every day, mullah, mullah. Grandma make me mullah. And then first grade, boom, chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Don't want no mullah.
Yeah.
No, it was also the same for my daughter and my son right now, because like mullah combo, it's easier to swallow for them. So like that sita just goes down.
Yeah.
They call it swallow in Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
They do, and it's easier, and it's also like more nutritious, and they don't know McDonald's, so when they start eating and they taste the salt and all the other different stuff, and they're like, okay, well, I want that.
So it will take both generations. We mothers teaching our children that there's nothing wrong with, the McDonald's or the Burger King or whatever, but at least you still have this other culture that's part of you and will always be part of you. So try it and, see the difference and all that. So it's education, as I always, emphasize. That's the biggest key.
Yeah.
That's a good segue. How difficult is it to raise children in both cultures, in a sense? Because as South Sudanese Americans now, a lot of times you're juggling like two different cultures, and especially with you, Regina. Now you're juggling not only South Sudanese and American Liberian culture, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that?
It's really interesting. In my household, we predominantly eat Liberian. The kids love it.
Yes.
My husband, or my fiance, he's Liberian, and that's what, of course, he prefers. So I had to learn how to cook Liberian food. And then for the kids, we just go to my mom's house to eat all the Sudanese food. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, we mostly go to my mom's house, because if I cook it, it's like I have to eat it all by myself, because
it doesn't.
They just don't prefer it, and I'm stuck with the whole bowl of mullah. Like,
do you feel like your daughter is going to be more Liberian? Well, naturally, because you take your father's side in the culture most of the time. You usually take your father's, like if they're Liberian or they're whatever tribe they are, you take what they are. But do you think that they're going to be more like Liberian than anything with as far as culture?
Culture-wise, no. I feel like it's a blend, because I don't think either one of us are so heavily in the culture.
Yeah.
Because there's some traditions on my side that I don't know, and there's on his side. So what we do know, we bring it to the kids, so now they have their own kind of
culture. It's
culture.
blending.
It's like American, Liberian, Sudanese.
That makes sense.
How,
But then that differs from mine, because my husband is heavily into the culture. When I grew up in Kenya, in America, with chamot.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's my.
I know we don't call her Sahra. Most of we call her chamot. And so coming to Texas, and he introduced me to our conferences and our dances and everything. So he's always Dinka man, my kids are this and this. And now the kids are, my daughter, she's 15 and the other one is 13 and 9. They're outspoken. We don't, we accept this culture, but we have our own mind. You've taught us to be independent and we can speak our mind. So it's that frustration. I'm like, okay, this I've cooked, we don't want it. And they do their own things, and then I'm like, okay, this thing is, I'm not even gonna cook. So it's frustrating for me being a South Sudanese, born and raised, but then grew up in Kenya, grew up in America, got educated, but still I've never forgotten my roots, because my older sisters and siblings have always taught us and guided us. Although we lost our parents at a younger age, I was still enough to have older sisters that took care of us and took the role of parents and taught me, to cook all this Sudanese food. But then when I'm trying to, even when I'm cooking, I call my daughter like, you need to come to the kitchen when I'm cooking so you can learn how to cook. Mm-hmm. And she'd be like, I may never even marry a South Sudanese man. I may marry, a basketball or a Western. And then the dad is like, in the background, what? And I'm like,
so yeah, that makes sense. Cause so for you guys, it would be easier it's easier you guys to manage because you're also American. You grew up in America. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can kind of relate to being blended, where you're coming from a background where everybody is like strictly South Sudanese culture. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting to see that dynamic.
Yeah, I want to ask about expectations versus reality when it comes to motherhood. Like, what has been your personal experience, what you expected versus like the reality of what motherhood has actually been for you?
Ooh, I want to hear.
I know.
It seems like you want to say something, Emma.
I don't know. I'm having so much fun though, guys. I don't think y'all understand. Like, she's like my friend. She's not even like my daughter right now. I feel like eventually I'll have to put my foot down and be that I'm your mom, not your friend. But right now we're having so much fun. We're like talking about going to trampoline parks and going jumping and yeah. She's like, Mom, you gonna be my best friend forever. I'm like, yeah.
Did you expect that before you had the baby, when you were just pregnant?
But you already know my story. Like I didn't know what to expect. I was just going with the flow. I said, we're just gonna figure this out, buddy.
Yeah. Were you scared at any point?
No, I wasn't scared. I feel like it was a natural instinct.
Okay.
I have my family. I'm not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister, she's 7, and my sister's her best friend. It's so cute. Yeah.
Well, I think
like she told her something recently that she didn't tell me, and I looked at her like, you told her? And you didn't tell me? But then I had to step back and be like, that's so cute. Like,
yeah.
If you're not gonna tell me, at least you told my sister.
Right.
Yeah. So she didn't hold it in like how we were when we were younger. Mm-hmm. We didn't have nobody to talk to. We just held it in.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk. That's
a good point.
Yeah.
How do you segue into that? Let's talk about it though, because when we were younger, like our generation, we really didn't feel like we had anybody to talk to, unless you had like a sibling.
Yeah.
But like as an aunt, because our aunts were so engulfed into the culture, we were so afraid to tell them things. Yeah. And
I wouldn't trust it because I'm like, they're acting like they're cool auntie, but next thing you know, your mom knows.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so true.
No, seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so
I think that differs too. Like with my nephews, those of Chol and unfortunately Duar and Chomina and everybody. I lived with my sister when we came from America. My siblings moved out and I was the only one left in the house. My sister left with the boys and they lived in the same house. But I guess growing up in Kenya and then coming to America and going to the university, I had an open-minded. So I had an open door with my nieces and, my niece and nephews. And anytime they want me, they would even sometimes, I want to talk to Auntie Togreal. We don't want to even talk to mom and dad. And that's the relationship I have with them until today, that I'm blessed that way, that I was able to give them that chance. Now trying to talk to my daughter, I get harder, and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I talked to your niece because they're best friend, because my younger niece, they're like only 2 months apart." And my daughter's like, "You're not strict with your niece like that. Why are you strict with me?" And now I have to figure out that.
So maybe that's what it is.
The conflict. But it's the fortunate part, if you have an auntie that was open minded to you, out of my I was able to be that foundation, but that my my nephews and my nieces found to come and talk to me. And whenever they were frustrated, they would, bypass the dad, the mom, and come to talk to me. But most of Sudanese youngsters, they don't have that auntie or that uncle or that cousin. Mm-hmm. But we did. Like, it was me or my brother Ayuel, Uncle Mari, they, call him, they would always go to. So my nieces and nephews were blessed, but majority of South Sudanese families are not. It's the street culture that I was raised in that, Chamod was talking about. when you before I got to my household, got married, I was sat down by all women and given all this advice, what to do, how to do, and all this and everything.
That's so true.
And I'm like, okay. And, they're still calling. And those of Antiabu, Chamot mom, how is the household, and they'll come and see and give you advice. So it's constant. So I have that conflict being an educated woman in the Western world and trying to keep our culture and then raising children that were born in America. So I'm always pulled on each side. And the struggle get frustrating at points. Sometimes I just, want to throw in the towel and goes into my mental health closet and be like, I'm,
Done.
Can I share a quick story time? Yeah. Since you talked about, how they sit you down. When I went to South Sudan for my dad's funeral, may he rest in peace. When I was before I came back to America, all my aunts came and sat me down in a room. And they even sat down my friend too, because she was with me. So they were like, you know what? She's young too. Let's sit her down and talk to her too. And they just sat me down and they're like, Chamot, we see you on social media. You're doing great. We're proud of you. You graduated college. But, sometimes it's okay to you don't have to go out too much.
Or put yourself out there.
Yes, or, and sometimes it's to save money. Traveling is not, fun. Not everyday fun, pretty much, is what they were trying to say. And they're like, just stay home. They're like, you're living life like you're, my brother. Shout out to my brother. He was like my half brother. He was like, you're living life like you're Kim Kardashian or something. No. Okay, I'm just like,
not an intervention.
A whole intervention, and they even gave my friend who was there with me an intervention too, because she was there. They're like, you too. We know your dad, we know your family, so you're getting this intervention, and you need to calm down. I see you in the pictures with Sahra, so you all need to calm down. So I was just like.
Because they have that mentality, it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, as a South Sudanese woman, if I walk down and I see that's a South Sudanese kid, I will, doing something bad, I will act like the mother, and they'll be like, are you the mother? No, I'm not, but I am the mother, because it takes a village to raise a child.
But
that's how we,
my whole thing was like, okay, you said I graduated college, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why can I not go out? And
you're still doing something wrong.
Right, like how?
I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's a scarce mentality. Like you're gonna burn out before the end of whatever it is.
Yes.
So I guess they're trying to prevent something, but they really don't know the whole
what they're preventing.
Yeah, what they're preventing and the whole
like you said, scarce mentality. Yeah. Like they think that what you're doing, it's gonna run. Something's gonna run out. Yeah.
So I think that's the mentality behind it, but.
And reputation.
I don't know. And
reputation.
And
reputation. We're so heavy on reputation. Like, don't ruin your reputation by, going out and doing this and traveling. They're going to think that somebody's sending you there,
And then I have to remind you of your last name too. Throwing it in your face all the time. You're the daughter of somebody, Nyanmakir, you can do this.
They say your whole name.
Your whole, 5, 10 names.
Yeah. Do you guys feel influenced by, culture and reputation in our culture, because that's a big thing. People, it's always like about reputation, how you're viewed by your family and other people. Have you guys ever felt that pressure?
Yeah, I think I constantly walk that, the thin line between reputation, the culture, and my family expectation. Like when I spoke about my nephew, some of my family members were not happy about it, but I said I had to do it for my community. So I still, it's that line, culture.
Can you give them context when you say you spoke about your nephew?
So, December 17th, 3 years ago.
The episode.
That episode we did was, I talked about my nephew, completing suicide, because we don't use committed suicide, because committing is like you do a crime, but, the complete suicide. So he completed suicide by gunshot to his head. My family didn't want to talk about it. And the first episode I did was at the Luol Deng Foundation, and I addressed it. And it was funny because after my episode, we had like a line of kids that were thinking of it, and some that have lost the family members, but we never talk about it. And that's why I say it's consistency. And Mother Day coming up, it affects me. I was second mother to him. My sister doesn't function well on Mother's Day. And so are so many South Sudanese mothers that have lost their children to suicide because of depression. They have been affected. Mother's Day has become the worst thing that ever happened to their life because their children are not there. So, with that, it's a thin line, because culture And then my family status, my dad was a commander in the army, high commander in SPLA. So that status of itself, it's, drowning me. My culture is drowning. American culture is on me. And so it's a struggle each day to try to balance out. And some days I miss on some side because I'm not perfect, I'm human. And I go into my own cocoon of, being depressed and hiding, avoiding everything because it's too much trying to juggle and balance everything. Although I am a Libra, I'm supposed to, but I am human at the end of the day. So it's a constant struggle between me. Everything I say or do, I have to look at my culture. I have to look at my family status. I have to look at the American culture and my kids in all of this. And it's a struggle each day.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Lack of knowledge and culture shock is killing people, like, for real. And I feel like things are going to get better. Like 10 years from down the line, I feel like Sunni people are going to be thriving. Like, and I think y'all know that too. Like,
yeah. Do you guys have any stories of like where you've struggled with like your reputation or the South Sudanese people viewing you a certain way? There was a girl who was actually supposed to be on the show. Shout out to her name is Grace. Shout out to you. But she couldn't make it. But she consistently talks about how like she felt like other South Sudanese mothers judged her as a mother, or the older, the older ones, the older generation judged her for her when she became a mother and how she became a mother and how she is a mother right now. Do you guys?
Grace is strong. I love her.
You know her too?
Yeah, she's a very strong girl.
Yeah.
No, yeah. If y'all know me very well, y'all know I do not care. Like, I'm very strong in myself. I'm confident in myself. You could talk about me all day, but if I know where I'm going, my mom can tell you herself. Like, you can't change her Boba's mind. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Like, can't nobody influence me.
Yeah. Definitely felt that when I first became pregnant. I was a senior in college, so, and everybody knows me as so and so's daughter. She's the girl that went to college. She's about to graduate, and then all of a sudden she's pregnant, not married. So definitely there's a scratch in the family reputation now, because you represent your family. And one of the things that really stood out, or that really was very strong for me when I first told my parents, was my father told me, how am I supposed to look at people in the eyes now? And that really cut me really deep, because I felt the disappointment. It wasn't because for me personally, it's because that I made my father feel that way. So that was very hard to hear for me, and it made me feel really, emotional and bad. And I think, and that's the whole thing with the whole reputation thing. But
oh my gosh, how did you navigate that? Thank you for sharing that, by the way, because I think a lot of people can be able to relate to that.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of girls that do get pregnant out of wedlock. And that whole telling your parents thing is a whole thing in itself. If you are married, like, it's still like a thing to tell people. Like, people wait, even if you're married, you wait, there's health risk and stuff like that. So you still wait. But when you're not married and people are not expecting you to have a child, that's a whole nother pressure into when you do tell, especially your parents. But yeah, so definitely felt a lot of
pressure. No, like the pressure
from being judged, with, like, reputation from the South Sudanese community, and I feel like they're more judgmental in that aspect, instead of trying to support, because and it's a crazy dynamic between once the news breaks out and after the child is born. It's such a huge difference. So if you could support me once the child is born, I mean, there are people that support me after the fact the child is born, but if you can give me that love, why not give me that love before, when I was pregnant, when I needed it the most? So yeah,
I love
and
that.
yeah, and that also really, if you want to know who supports you, you would know during your pregnancy. You would know like the people that really um are there for you,
Yeah.
and you would know the people that are just there
For
to
fun.
talk about you or
Yeah.
just have a story to tell. So I know I see the auntie. So when it comes to the whole reputation thing, like in the beginning, yes, it affected me, and I thought a lot about what people think. But I'm building my family, and what's important for me is me, those children, and my fiance going to be my husband.
Yeah.
So we're going to do what's best for us, and if we're doing good, you're gonna talk about us. If we're doing bad, you're still going to talk about us. So it's the same. My fiance name is Emmett. It's the same me and Emmett when I got pregnant, and you guys were talking negatively about me, and it's the same me and Emmett now with our family, and you're talking good about us. So reputation, I don't care of what people say anymore. It's being a mother that really started that mentality for me, and it just made me realize what's important.
I know that.
And I think becoming
That was so good.
That was beautiful. You ate that
and I
up.
think becoming a mother changes everything.
That-
You know,
yeah.
you at that point you don't care about reputation. Not that you don't care, but now you have humans that you have
Yes.
to raise
Yes.
and pay attention to them, so you cannot take the negativity. I went through the same thing. Unfortunately, I was the expected to be the walk down the aisle in the white dress and everything, but I apparently we bypassed that, and I had my daughter. And also apparently
bypassed that.
She's so funny.
But I did apparently, and my uncle wasn't happy about it. He's like, I was expecting my cows, the dowries, before you go to your family, and now you did that. So I felt I disappointed them because they expected me to be to be.
Did they charge? Did you charge him more?
Oh yeah, they did.
At text.
They did. He made sure he got his cows, his dowries and everything. But it was that disappointment at first. You feel so, I was down. My uncle calling me, and when he was talking to me, and I felt like, with emotional how you did with your dad. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. It wasn't my intention. But at that time, I knew.
Sonia, please. You're killing me today.
I had graduated college. I had my bachelor's, and I was working. But then, life happened.
Yeah.
I
It
think
wasn't
that's
my
a great
intention.
point. When you talk about like you becoming a mother, your whole mindset changes. I wanted to ask because I was watching a video a few weeks ago about how like your mindset changes when you become a mother. And the lady was talking about how she has so much anxiety now that she's a mother because she's constantly worrying about like the safety of her kids. And she was just saying that, obviously she loves her kids, but how now it's like she's constantly worried about them. So I wanted to ask, like, how has your mentality or mindset shifted since becoming a mother, or how you view the world?
They say that having kids is like your heart living outside of your body. Literally, that's what it is.
That's
Like
deep,
they go
yeah.
to school, it's like
And they're gonna
your
be
heartbeat literally just left you. You have your own, obviously, because you're living, but it's like you're waiting for that kid to come back. The anticipation is always there. Yeah, like who hurt your feelings? I need you right now.
And then not being able to be there.
No,
for
seriously,
everything
not
to
being able to
protect
be
them,
there.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, man, it's anxiety on 10.
Your life become them. It's
Yeah.
like you living physically in your being as a mother, but your life is all about your children. It's like,
Yeah.
are they okay? They're in school. Okay, my son, 9-year-old, is supposed to be home by 3:40. It's 3:42. Where is he? I'm going to stand at the door,
Yeah.
and he's just
Yeah.
walking with his friend,
that's
smiling. So it's all about them. Your mentality shifts from everything and everybody. You love your family members, your uncles, your aunties, your siblings, but now everything is all about your children. You literally live for those children. They're your life. When people say, my kids are my life, when I wasn't married, I'm like,
They're not playing.
Yeah.
you're right. My kids
Yeah.
are my life, but now I'm a mother. I'm like, they are right. Your life all revolves around your kids, and it's constantly thinking about that, frustrating and everything. But you live for your kids. It's not
Yeah.
about you anymore or your spouse. Unfortunately, your spouse is part of you, but it's about your kids as a mother. You go that extra step because you're constantly worried about your kid because you want your kids to be, the best.
Yeah, there is a huge mental shift when you become a mother. and I feel like different, like I have two now, and the first time it brought something different than the second time.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, with my first child, it was more like a go-getter mentality. Like you gotta provide.
It's getting real.
Yeah, it's getting real. And then with my second one, it's more of a mental, and I need to get right with God. That's what my second child brought out of me, because of all of the things that are happening. So for my mental, I need a higher power to protect them when I'm not there.
Yeah.
So I'm really, just asking God, like, take care of my children. Every night I pray for them. Every morning I pray for them for the day. And that helps me mentally. So when I'm not there, I know that God is going to provide for them and going to take care of them the way they should be provided. Because also when I thought about it, there's people say like, "Oh, I had a praying mother," and I'm like, "That's me. I'm the praying mother.
Yeah,
so
no.
I need to start. I need to
Praying
start
harder.
praying. I need my kids when they're older to be like my mom's prayers covered me.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
So
Yeah,
that's
so
how
deep.
that's how I feel about um just how I feel that they're going to be protected when I'm not
I'm
Mm.
curious to know what was the shift or the difference you think with like
between
the two different pregnancies that made you like
Um,
one go getter, the second like I need to pray.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So first, with my first daughter, like I said, I had her senior year of of college. So that's the time when I should be in the work field. And
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
I feel like that's when I need financial support. But I know with the second one, I know I'm able to take care of a child. I know how to take care of a
Yeah.
child. So now this is my life, and I need a higher power to protect what I have.
Mhm.
And God, He's the higher
right.
power that's
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
to protect us.
And that's so deep. How did that change how you view your own mom? Like becoming a mom, how did
Yeah.
that kind of shift the way you look at her?
Yeah, my mom, she's actually the whole a major aspect of how my mind changed like that, because my mom, she's always been the 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 person that's always praying. So every morning, I mean, I don't see her every morning, but most mornings, when someone does a routine,
Mm-hmm.
like you notice. So she's always praying. She's in church every Sunday, sometimes twice. She be trying to meet Jesus every Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, she goes to the Catholic church, and then she goes to the Sudanese church. So she's in church for like 8 hours on Sundays. But
Let me find out that's about to be you, Regina.
I know.
maybe
How you can turn
If I
into
can
your
see
mom.
Jesus,
later
turn
in
into
your
your
life.
mom, right? No,
That's what they always say.
but yeah, so I wanted to just be more like my mom, have that blessing over my kids, as they're
That
God's
covering.
gift. So
Yeah.
pray to God to give me the strength to steward His gift that He gave me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
And I think it takes a
amen.
lot of wisdom, because you said with your first one, it was like you had to go get it. You had to be the one. But then when the second one came, you're like, no, God is the only one that can actually like do it. I
Yeah.
can't do it. You can't do it. God has to be the one that, actually does the thing for it to be effective. I think that's so beautiful.
I think
And
mine was
humility too.
Yeah, mine I think
Wisdom
was
and humility.
different in the case. Unfortunately I lost my both parents, my dad in 92 and my mom in 95. So I was, grew up with my siblings. But when I had my firstborn, my daughter, I was holding my baby and I'm crying and I'm like, sorry, mama, for all the things I have done to you, wherever you are in heaven or wherever you are, I am sorry, because I was humble. because the pain you go through as a mother, delivering that, the pregnancy and delivering. And my sister's like, why are you crying? You have South Sudanese, you don't cry, the baby's in your arm. And I'm like, you're not supposed to cry. And I'm holding the baby and I'm crying tears all over. And she took the baby. She's like, stop crying. Why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm sorry, Mama, where you are. Because I didn't know this is what she went through as a mother. And now thinking that I have to raise this child by myself every night. I thanks my mom wherever she was, and I know she was a prayer too, and she got me covered. But it was her not being there physical, but I knew she was there spiritually. But I thank her every night for that, and that was different. But as I said, I was lucky enough to have all the sisters that took up and became my mothers and raised me. But it's one, I never, with all of my 4 children, I thank my mother every day.
Yeah, it becoming a mother really makes you appreciate your parents and your mother and how hard they had to sacrifice for you, and like the simple things that I was doing, I'm like, oh, that's whatever. So now I'm like, oh, that's a big deal. That's not whatever.
And we really wanted to have somebody from that generation, like our mother's generation, be on the show. But we weren't able to get someone that was available this Saturday, but we wanted to do this for Mother's Day. But we did want to get that experience because our parents don't really talk about their struggles or their hardships at all. No. And it would be interesting to see, like, did you guys deal with postpartum? Like, maybe you didn't know it was postpartum back then, but now you may know. You may be able to, like, see that was postpartum, or the struggles, like being whatever, like single mother. A lot of them came. I came during the us refugees of war. Most of us did, and I had to come a little bit with my mom and not with my dad. So she was a single mother for a while until he was able to come. So everybody's immigration story is different. So there's so many different dynamics of motherhood that we can hear from our parents that they kind of just suppress a little bit.
Yeah, my mom did tell me no matter how old you get, you're still going to need and want your mom. She was telling me how when she was giving birth to me, like her mom wasn't there. She was back home in Sudan, and she was like really crying for her mom as a grown woman, like really wanting her mom to be there in that moment. And my dad had said, my grandmother recently passed away a few years ago, but he said that whenever he went back to Juba the time before she passed, when he would go out and he would come home like late at night, my grandma would still be waiting for him in the living room. And like my dad was saying, it's just crazy that he's this grown man with like kids and everything. And he was like, no matter how old you get, your mom is still gonna look at you as like her baby. So.
And you're still gonna request your mom, because there's some nights when I'm especially on my mom's anniversary, I'll be like crying. I'm like, Mom, I need you. You're supposed to be here. What am I supposed to do with this and this and this? And a few times my husband will be like, but you're grown, still I need my mama, And I tell my kids, you guys will always need me, and regardless how old you guys get, I am always gonna be here.
Yeah, my
go ahead. Tell your story.
My mom, she told me this really cute experience she just had. So she went back to Sudan like a year or two ago, and she was just telling me of how her when she went back home, like she had to sleep with her mom on the bed, and it was just like so cute. I could just like imagining how Bobo with my mom.
Yeah, that's so cute. That's sweet. Yeah. How do you feel like you guys as mothers can be better supported, not from just like your immediate family, but also like your extended family, friends? Like, how do you feel like people could show up better for you in your life?
I think people judge us a lot. And what I want from my family members or from the extended, community is to support me, be my support system. If I'm doing something wrong, come and tell me instead of talking behind my back. I struggle with that status, sometimes, trying to fit in, and I find myself, I'm the outcast. There'll be baby showers and, I'm invited and I go take the gifts. But then 10 minutes into the conversation, I have nothing anymore to say with them. And I feel like I'm the outsiders and nobody tried to pull me in. So I think my community, South Sudanese women, is try to talk to me, get to know me better than what, because, maybe you have whatever, perception of me. Majority of people judge me, she's educated, she thinks she knows. And I'm like, I'm not even that. I'm the most humble person you could ever meet, but give me a chance. Talk to me when you see me. ask how I'm doing. Let's have something in common. So feeling left out is one of the biggest thing. And, you end up isolating yourself. I always said I'm one woman band. I go by myself to place and I go back by myself because I just feel left out all the time. So please, South Sudanese women out there, include each other. The young mothers, the mothers that are going through postpartum depression, they are going through that. We've all experienced it. I have personal experience it when I felt I was all alone and nobody was there for me. Regardless, my family was not here, and I didn't feel because they were not physically here. So the community that was here around me, instead of being physically there for me and take care of me, I battled it by myself. Luckily, I had a community, at my job. So use your community at work, use your community at church, but it's just to be there for each other and support each other. That's, the biggest thing that I would tell every South Sudanese mother, woman, help your sister. Let them not fail by themselves. Because it takes a community to raise a child. And as mothers, we need to raise our children as a community. What happened to that when we were back in South Sudan? It takes a whole community to raise that child. When that child fails, they're not just going to say my name or my husband's name. They're going to say the whole family tree down the road. And so let's go back to that root. It takes a community to raise a child.
Yeah. As many times as I met you, I love you. Your personality is very lovable. So I don't know. That's just the South Sudanese in us.
What part?
The part of being judgmental and trying to finish the narrative before you even had a conversation. No, I don't like that either. It does suck. But
Yeah.
And
it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the question you ask is hard to answer because we don't have that community. So you don't know what it is to expect from people. So just having conversations, and then when something does come up, then it's easier to ask and know what it is that you can do to support a fellow mother.
Do you think that there's a misunderstanding within our community, which is why people not to downplay gossiping and all of that stuff, but maybe that's is there a misunderstanding? Is there a disconnect, which is why you feel like you have to talk about people to maybe feel better about yourself, to boost your status, to boost your reputation?
I feel like people don't share. People are so afraid of being vulnerable because they think oh well, someone's gonna share this information with somebody else.
It could be weaponized.
There's a lack of
you.
trust, so people don't really say what's really going on with them to begin with because they haven't established that trust. Whenever they did establish that trust, that person went and told someone else. So they're just I'm never telling so-and-so my business. And I just hate that because I feel like instead of community, we have spectacle. So what you were saying earlier, people will ask how you're doing, but you don't know if it's coming from a genuine concern or because they just like to know information.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's helpful for us in building community if we only show up to the highlights of someone's life or to the funeral. Because it's this could have all been prevented, or the situation could have turned out differently had we really been in each other's life, and not.
Oh yeah, big difference.
Yeah, and the thought that just came to my mind when she was speaking, when she mentioned the funeral thing, I love to see how the mothers come together when there is a funeral. I love to see how supportive we are. But why does someone have to pass away for us to be like that?
Yeah. And that's why I kind of asked my initial question, because I feel like as the South Sudanese community, we do come together when it's hardships, grief, times where things are bad. People do come together, and it is genuine. It seems very
it is genuine. Yeah.
But it's if somebody's doing something good, people try to downplay it, or there's a crab in the barrel
used to do that
mentality. Yeah, I used to know her when she used to do that. I don't know why she thinks she all that. Or there's when it's successful stories, people try to claw at that. So I'm trying to think is kind of.
But you have to go back to the
into
background of our people who went through trauma, the war-related trauma. So we only knew how to support each other and be there with each other when they were going through the deaths and the trauma that we went through. That's the only thing we knew. We come together as a family, we hold each other, we bury our loved one, and we moved on. That became us, and that has, become us. And so even now, in the West, wherever we are, Australia, Canada, America, that's still the same thing. When death happens, that's when the whole community come together. But if there's no death, we are all different tribes and tribalism is causing a problem in our community. But we all back up. But as soon as somebody died, we all come together like nothing ever happened. And then as soon as we bury that person, we go back to wherever, because that's what we knew. That's what we've gone 23 plus years of, war trauma related. That's all we knew was each other. We hold each other up when we're going through trauma. And that's something that we have, your generation, the newer generation has to know, and our children, that's the background of your grandparents, your cousins, your auntie, because we came from that background. I don't go to see my auntie every day, but when there's a death, I'm taking all the kids and they're like, now why are we going to see auntie? They don't understand that.
Even with the trauma, like, because we do have a lot of trauma in our community, I do think that builds like a sense of strength, like a shield around us.
Yeah.
And it makes us feel like we can't cry, we can't be vulnerable, we can't do this. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't show their vulnerability. We're okay with showing our highlights, but we're not comfortable showing.
But that's the
being vulnerable, which is okay.
Yeah, that's the resiliency.
Yes.
With
and
trauma,
do you think that
we have
can
to be.
cause like a sense of like jealousy or like envy when people are I'm just trying to navigate all of it. When people are always being so strong, maybe we need to be more vulnerable as people.
But then again, it goes to that aspect, the line between how genuine are these people, give it funeral. There's some people that will be yelling so much to the point you look at it and be like, how genuine is that? No offense, but, I'm just saying.
You ain't lying.
No, like, you look at it.
That's such a big part of the culture.
Some will even fake
Yeah.
fainting. And you're like, that person hasn't even fainted. I know
like,
CPR.
We were driving in the car together.
Like, as soon as they step in the house.
Yeah. That used to always perplex me as a kid.
Yes,
it was like a spectacle.
I think I was like 10 years old when I first saw it.
You don't even know them. You don't even know them.
No, but that is so true. But we do show, because it's like we go out of our way to show that we're sad for you.
Yeah.
But how genuine is that?
No.
You sit back and you're like, how genuine is that? You didn't, and you've not even talked to this person.
Your mom will be taking you like, come say sorry to auntie. And I'm like, I'm not about to start crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like not knowing what to do. Like, I don't know what to do.
Call auntie, tell her you're sorry. Like, wait, what?
Not talking about when you're in person, when you first come. I'm like, what do I do?
Yes.
I still remember when I first seen it. Like, I was 12 years old. My grandpa died. One of the aunties came right through the door, guys. Crack of the door. She fell on the floor, and I was shooked. I'm born and raised in America.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. I was just like, Mama, like, somebody help auntie.
Yeah.
And then I saw my mom was just like there holding her back, like,
and then putting water on her face and she'll be okay.
So this is a thing.
Yeah.
No. When I saw my auntie rolling around the floor, I was like, oh my gosh.
But it can also be exhausting for the person who lost someone, because we're like, when my grandma died, I was like, okay, everyone who comes in keeps crying with my mom, and my mom's crying nonstop, like all day long, and I'm like, like she needs a break. But every person who's coming for the first time wants to cry all over again.
Yeah.
So,
oh my god,
it's a lot for the person.
But then that's the mourning culture we have.
Yeah,
the mourning culture we have.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a lot.
When we go our own thing and cry for like 15-10 minutes, like you get a headache.
Yes.
Then you have to do that for days.
Like,
that's
but to give our credit to our community, when I went to your grandma's pickup,
they were there for each other.
It was packed.
The energy was very like hopeful and uplifting. And that is part of our culture too. Like there's like stages.
Yeah. And it's so important for the family, that support that people give, like just staying over your house, just prayers, like,
the food,
offerings, like people, will contribute to the family.
No, that's the morning part. I had an incident at my job working as a, clinician. There was a family, unfortunately, he was 9-year-old and he came in. By the time he came in to the trauma, he was already gone. And he was 7 and the brother was 9, and the mom, they were from West African, I think, and the mom asked the doctor, can I have my 9-year-old come and see, the brother, the 7-year-old brother? And all the nurses and the doctors, they went ballistic. What kind of a mother wants to show this, that baby to this and this? And I was standing there and I'm like, I talked to the head doctor, I'm like, doc, that's our culture. We mourn our families, and when family members die, we stay in the room with them back home for a couple of days before we bury. They have to have the closure. He wants the brother, the 9-year-old, to know, we brought your brother to the hospital. We're going to go back home without your brother. He's dead. Hold your brother. And the nurses were so furious and talking negative while the mother was listening. And I'm like, no, that's the cultural difference. You all need to teach your nurses cultural competency.
Yeah.
Because if they cannot understand a different culture, then they shouldn't be working here. Because that mother just lost a 7-year-old, but she's been judged for doing what we do. That's how we mourn with our loved one. Like that's when my parents died, we were brought by our uncles and aunties, and it's like, have you seen your father in the casket? Have you seen your mother in the casket? Because we are going to bury them and they're never coming back. So we had to do that. That's the last time you see them. And we understood that because we're physical. So I'm like, the mother is not doing anything. So the doctor's like, can you come and talk to all my residents and nurses? Because that was acceptable. And I did. And I'm like, next time, don't judge a culture that you don't understand.
Yeah. I heard kids should know the cycle of life.
Yeah.
Kids should know the cycle of life. But it's up to the parents. I know some parents are like, I never went to a funeral when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My mom didn't take us to no funeral.
Me either. I still haven't seen the deceased body because my mom and my big age
when I graduated high school.
Yeah. I don't agree with that.
I would go to. I've been, but I wouldn't go up there. You know, so
it was the same thing like when happened to Duar.
It's like a taboo.
We took my kids to my friend's house for 3 days. But my daughter she later on came and told me, Mom, I had seen the lights at the park, and when we drove with, the neighbor at the park, I knew what had happened to cousin Duar, but you didn't let us go. But I thought that time I was protecting them and took them to my friend's house because that's what we do.
I think that was a good call in that specific situation.
It's a situation.
I think they would want to see him like that.
I personally prefer to see people in life. Like,
Me
like, I like to
too.
see them living like their life. I don't want, I don't
unless
know.
it's like, if it's like my very close family member, God forbid, like, I feel like I would force myself, you know?
Yeah.
But
I didn't even see my dad in his.
You did? Oh, you didn't?
It's closure. That's the part of closure.
Yeah. Maybe
it does help.
Maybe it's different for everybody because when my dad passed away, I didn't go see him, and I was planning to, but I think because it was so overwhelming in Juba, like everybody was like
hadn't
rushing.
seen him like immediately before.
I saw him like maybe 6 months before in Nairobi.
Yeah.
We took him to the hospital and everything, and he was doing all of his treatments, but. When I didn't want, like when it was time to come see him in the casket, I think it was like a mixture of it being overwhelming because I did plan to do that. But everybody was like going, like it was a lot of people, like a lot of people. And like I was just like, you know what? And then people would come out bawling, crying. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe it's best for me to just like.
But I think we did.
But I think we did for in Nairobi.
We did for closure. I think most of our parents do it for closure.
Like you need closure, or that was your closure and you're okay with that?
I'm okay with the like because I already know that he passed and he's in a better place, in a higher place. Like me seeing his body, it's like a shell. Like I'm just gonna see his shell, and it's gonna make me sad and break down, just like how everybody else is coming out. That picture of his mind of like just his physical. When I know he's somewhere greater, so that's how I saw it when everybody was coming out. Crying, girl, on the floor, like literally people had to hold them. But I'm like, why? I don't want to do that. My sister she did, and she told me, she was like, it's okay, I did it. So I feel like she did it for me. As the big sister.
That makes me so sad because I remember your dad.
Yeah, and my big sister.
For not crying.
Oh, people absolutely.
Oh yeah, they do.
We get judged.
Yeah, I think that's a part of our culture.
That's a culture.
Too.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
you
if you don't have the expected reaction, they'll be like, "Oh, like look at this." Like,
oh, I'm sorry. Willie asked off camera. He's like, "Do you think our culture judges you on how you grieve?" And that's what we're answering.
I did. I actually made a video after my daughter's dad passed away because somebody had said, "You're too happy to be grieving." Because I was laughing at some joke or something somebody made at his funeral at the table, and I was like, ah. And one of the aunties came up to me, and she was like, "You need to calm down."
Ooh.
And I was so confused because
you look too happy for them.
She's like, "You need to calm down. You're laughing too much." And I was just like,
it's all about the optics.
At the dead.
It's about the optics.
Yeah.
Like how it looks to other people.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as like everybody grieves differently in our culture.
Yeah.
You're supposed to grieve the same way.
Same way.
Everyone needs to be sad. There's no jokes, nothing.
All black.
Yeah.
I took my mom to get her nails done after like a little bit after my dad passed away, and she was still wearing black. Like,
people shave their. When my grandfather died, everybody shaved their head.
That's what I'm saying. They do that, and I recorded my mom getting her nails done. She's like, no, don't record me. I'm like,
you can't. You can't. It's
especially when you're husband.
You can't do anything that
can't be seen at events.
You're enjoying yourself.
what is it called when they have to like wear black for like 40 days or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere for Arbain, but then most women, especially if the husband died, they'll have to wear the whole black for a whole year.
Whole
Like
year.
my,
A year, one
yeah,
whole
like my
year.
mother had to wear her black dress for a whole year, had to cut her hair, everything, and then they have to do the whole ceremony to take off the black clothes, and then she
Yeah.
could go back to Badadu. No,
Yeah.
nobody. Nothing.
You can't get rid of any of
Yeah.
their belongings. Their belongings
Nothing.
have to stay where it's at until
They do that.
whatever the time
Wow.
period is.
And don't
Yeah.
you? And then you do another ceremony. Like, is it like 60,
Yeah.
90
Yes.
days?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
To give away the whatever you need to give away.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
a whole step, which I think is
Mhm.
personally, I feel think it's beautiful. I feel like our
Yeah.
culture is beautiful.
That's one of my favorite parts.
There
of our
are
culture.
some, downfalls of like
Yeah.
you're judged on how you grieve. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's happened to me when I was in Juba. I was like, can I go to a restaurant? My mom was like, no,
Yeah.
you cannot be seen.
Yeah.
I need to
wanna
eat.
eat.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be seen. You have to be in this sense
Yeah.
of mourning. So there
Yeah.
are downfalls, but I feel like for the most part, I do really appreciate our culture and how we come together.
Yeah.
Yes, community.
Oh, sad. We
so
didn't mean to. We
different.
didn't mean to end the episode.
My,
sad.
I know.
My
Well, on a positive note, we can end with the question for them and the viewers. Yeah, because that just got dark. Yeah. I know. I was about to cry earlier. I was like, oh, let me get it together.
And then you made it worse. You like, no, I knew your dad. I'm like, no, don't do that.
I was just envisioning it, and it was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
bringing the sad memories.
Yeah.
It should be coming up after
Yeah.
that.
It's a part of life.
But
so.
to end on a positive note,
Thank you.
because this is to honor our mothers, we love our mothers so much. What are you most grateful for about your mother or motherhood?
My children, the biggest pride in my life. When I was young, I used to play basketball, fell and had my hip, and they had told me I was never going to carry a child to full time. But here I am with 4 beautiful children.
Amen.
So it's God's grace, but I'm always thankful for them. And I hope to be here, me and my partner until death do us apart, hopefully for our kids. Because I
Inshallah,
lost my, parents at a younger age, 3 years apart, 92 and 95. But I'm grateful for that. But on that note, as a mother, we have to take care of ourselves because we are not taking care of ourselves. We pour our cups into everybody and everybody. We are
Look
the
what you
backbone.
did for us today.
Yeah.
You woke up this morning and cooked all of these.
Because that's what we do. We are mothers.
It's a process
we
for
are,
every dish. So to
you
make
do-
all this stuff,
So
it's
we always
incredible.
pour our, cup. But then if you have an empty cup, what are you gonna pour for other people? Because your children need you, your community needs you. So you have to take care of your mental health before you take care of others. I have to learn that. I'm still working on that because I'm not perfect. I say that I do the talk but don't do the walk. So I have to work on that. Take care of, but I'm grateful for my family, for my children, for my community, how we come together. But we need to do better. We need to be there for each other, support each other. And as a mother, I'm a proud South Sudanese mother.
Yes.
Aw.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm grateful for about my mother is her strength. She's just such a strong woman, and she went through a lot, some things that I don't even know, but the way she carried herself allowed me to be the woman that I am today. So I'm very grateful for who she is, the strength that she showed in my upbringing. For me, what I appreciate and grateful for in motherhood is the growth. I don't think I would be this person with this mentality if I did not have my kids. So I'm very grateful for them and just to be able to experience that gift and just grow and live life with my babies.
That's so beautiful.
So
Yeah.
beautiful. Mm.
Vaida, I know you're not a mother, but what are you grateful for?
Oh my gosh, this is to Cece, my mom. I love you so, so much. I was thinking about this earlier today because tomorrow is Mother's Day, but I just love how opinionated you are. And I think and just how much you own, your personhood. And it just gives me so much confidence, like your strength. You just go get whatever you need. You go get it. And I love it. And the older that I become, the more of a woman that I become, the more that I really am like, wow, my mom, she did so much for me. And she really paved the way and taught me how to be a woman and just a better person. So love you, Mom, and one day I hope to be like you when I have kids.
Oh, that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so cute. I think that topped it all. Let me be quiet. Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do the same message because my mom watches the show. Like she actually does. So Suzanne, Ashek, Alwong. Yeah, my mom is awesome. She's always there for me. Like even when I don't ask, like she'd be like, "My instincts are telling me you need me." Like, she'll be like, "Do you need something?" And yeah, she's so cute. We call her Sugar. Yeah, we call her Sugar at home, and it's so cute because it came out. I don't know who came up with it first, but whoever came up with it, we went along with it, and it describes her because she's so sweet.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And what are you most grateful for about being a mother?
I'm having so much fun raising a mini me. Like she looks like me, depending on whoever is looking at her. But so far she's growing. She's looking like me.
She looked like her dad.
At first she looked like her dad.
But
She did.
we can let you
Off
have
the
it.
jump, she was looking like her dad, and I was like, dang, that's not me at all. But now she's growing a little bit. She's looking more like me. Her face is slimming out. Her dad's face is more round. Mine's more slim. So I was like, okay, you're looking like me. But yeah, I'm having so much fun. I love when she tells me like personal things. I'd be like, come on, we're about to work this out right now. Yeah, and I wish I had that. But you know, I don't blame our parents. They simply just didn't. Culture shock. They didn't know.
Have the resources.
But yeah, I'm having fun doing it differently and raising a whole new generation, guys. Like, this is not us no more.
It's some new kids.
These are new kids.
Different.
This is us after we leave. Like,
Kids are different.
Yeah.
These new kids and I'm a teacher. I'm saying that these new kids are. I don't have kids, but I'm a teacher.
No, they are
Different.
different.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
so
the
fun. She
same.
tells my mom personal things too, and it's like I could have never told my mom that.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "I had a crush at school." A crush? We could have never told my mom about that. Like, right? And my mom just be like, and she just goes along with the flow.
Oh yeah.
She's having fun too.
That is the most soothing thing I ever
know. Like even your mom is growing.
Yeah,
That's
she's my mom's growing too. She's like having fun. Like,
No, your mom was like, those your kids. I did my job.
my mom listens to her blabber all day, and I'm just like, bruh.
Yeah.
I was like, because back then it was like, go away. But
Yeah.
now it's just like they'll sit there and listen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. My son, he don't talk. He's 1, and my dad would literally FaceTime me so they can talk. He's just there. I'm like,
Shout out to Uncle on FaceTime.
The same uncle, the same dad who said he couldn't look anybody in the eye. He couldn't look anybody in the eye.
That's
Now he on FaceTime.
Yeah, it's always like that.
Absolutely no conversation.
See how the universe.
That's beautiful though. That's full circle.
Oh, shout out to Uncle.
Yeah.
Shout out to my
I felt him because my daddy
parents,
would have said the same thing. But guess what? When the kids come, those are the piece of them. A
Yeah.
piece of them. So
Yeah.
shout out to them for being great parents, great grandparents.
Yes.
Do you want to? Ooh. So we had a question off camera. You'll see him next episode, hopefully. From our Sudanese brother in the studio. Yeah, he asked. Yes.
How do you envision the future as a parent and with your children, right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
I think they're going to be independent, strong, outspoken children. My kids, they stand up and they speak their mind. Some days I snap and be like, let me get Peach. Mufraka. And they're like, but you told us to talk. Okay, I did not, So it's like, and then my daughter's like, Mom, you contradicting. You tell me to be an independent woman, now you want to get. And I'm like, I got
They
changed.
talk back. They talk back.
The different generation, they talk
Yeah,
back.
they talk back.
But I'm proud to know that the future generation, not only are they going to be strong, independent, but, resourceful, and they can stand up for themselves, especially the females, the women in our community. We are raising these independent, strong women that have been, dominated over years and years. So seeing that, although I, a little bit, but deep down, I'm like, oh yeah, you're good to go. I am raising an independent, strong daughter.
I like that.
Right now, you guys are best friends.
Yeah.
Willie just asked off camera.
Yeah, you gotta ask.
Willie just asked off camera if Emma and Regina are nervous about their kids hitting teenage years, basically.
Yeah. I mean, the thought of it, yes, because it's just, a milestone, and we're learning as we go. But I do, to combat that, I'm instilling tools right now that we are working towards. So when it comes to that point, the conversation will be the same, but the subject are different.
Because their teenage years, sneak out on you like real quick. You be like, when did they become teenagers? They were like,
yeah. I like that you said tools too, because like regardless of the situation, there's tools there. Like I can't do everything for you, but I can give you the tools.
And it's like things like asking her right now, like when I pick her up on our way home, how was your day? So like when she becomes a teenager and she has a crappy day, I'm like, how was your day? But it's not strange that I'm asking her that. We already been doing this. So now as a teenager, we're dealing with teenage problems. We're not dealing with someone broke your crown.
Yeah, and creating that safe space, I feel like is important when they're young and you guys are best friends, so that when you guys get older and that weird teenage stage where you think you know everything. I remember I thought I knew everything back then, but so that they can feel like I'm gonna ask my mom versus go ask my friends.
And trust and have that trust.
Yes, and that's something that is very important to me because of how we grew up.
Secrecy.
So that's something that I'm like, well, I have to work on this because I know what it was for me.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Regina.
No, you.
No, because we was talking about our secrets. We didn't want it out here.
Loving building confidence in her right now, because that was obviously weak when I was a kid. And,
that's so important.
Can't nobody tell you look like this or you look like that. No, you know what you are, and you know you're beautiful. So can't nobody tell you anything else. Like, yeah. So I love instilling the confidence.
You are big on confidence and telling your daughter and telling your daughter is beautiful.
And that also is like, I feel like what we lacked and we needed is what we're instilling in our kids. So I think that's important.
Yeah, because
so we didn't suffer for no reason, you know?
You're gonna learn from these mistakes.
And our parents came here as refugees of war, like as the South Sudanese people. Like we suffered a 30-year civil war. If you didn't know, you're watching, you're new to our channel. And a lot of our parents came here as immigrants or refugees of war. And they didn't know that they were gonna suffer from colorism or certain things that like now we know we can help our kids if they're gonna be raised here to navigate that, or certain things like whatever, like dating, relationships, and just being raised in the Western culture is. And still trying to maintain your culture is a challenge within itself.
Yeah. When you were saying that, I just thought about like how sometimes, because my mother, she does come from an old generation and she was raised in Africa, but like sometimes she just drop things and I'm just like, where did that come? Like your parents ever just drop like stories and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know that you experienced that. So I really, for the youth out there that really are struggling to understand their moms and they think that their moms don't understand them, I really would encourage you to just ask your mom about her life before you even, and you might be able to connect with them on a different level and see how they relate to you and understand why maybe they do the things that they do. So just for all the youth out there that, are struggling with their, moms out there, like just seek understanding before you try to judge them. And the same thing for mothers as well. Seek understanding from your child before asserting judgment. So
I love that.
Because that's such a good point.
Because most mothers are doing, raising kids by themselves. And, majority of them are single mothers or some are single wives. And that was a term somebody used, and I'm like, single wives?
Yeah.
But it is, you are married, you have a husband, but you do everything
by yourself.
So you become a single wife. So understand your mother. She's going through a lot. It's not because she hates you and she tells you, leave the room or don't talk. It's just they have a hard day. But try to understand where they came from, their background. And then, the more you communicate, the more you talk. Communication is key, and it's just not communication. It has to be effective communication. Just don't make it random communication that you lose your children in between as mothers. Make it as effective as possible so your kid can understand where you're coming from, and so the two cultures can meet in between, compromise, and hopefully we'll build our community.
And that's such a beautiful way to end, because I think what you said about getting to know your mom, I was literally thinking about how now that I'm older, I can look at my mom for the woman that she is outside of her like being my mom.
Yes.
So I would love to take time before, God forbid, you know, she passes away, to actually know who my mom is outside of like me being her child. And what she went through and her experiences and what motherhood was like, because they don't have a blueprint, like they don't know what they're doing. So I think that's important. And I didn't want to end without Sahra going and telling us what she's grateful for in her mom, because I love her mom so much. Shout out to Auntie Abuk.
I love your mama too.
Yeah,
Auntie
I think
Shada.
that's beautiful to
my
highlight them.
my mom and her mom were actually really, really close.
Yeah,
friends
I grew up
growing
with
here.
Sahra.
Yes,
Chumot,
we grew up, yeah,
so-
Chumot. We grew up together.
Yes.
KG.
Yes.
Since we really like grew up together,
Yeah.
because our parents like were best friends. And
Coming
I think
up at that time,
I think
yeah.
it's fair to say that my mom is a Dinka woman.
Yes,
and you're
a
Equatorian,
Equatorian.
and like, you know, they were
Yeah,
like,
that's why I always say
yeah.
it didn't really register as kids, because it's like,
It's like,
we're
who cares?
just
We're just
friends,
friends,
you
and like
know?
we grew up together. We're
And
all South Sudanese.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who
So
came from
please highlight
war-torn
her,
country,
because
yeah.
you know your mom's. I want to say her mom is so feminine and regal. Even as a kid, I just admired how Auntie was just like the nicest, sweetest, soft-spoken woman. She was. I love spending the night over her house. I used to beg my mom to let me go over there. So just want to give Auntie, her flowers.
When I went to
Yeah.
my brother's wedding in Juba,
Yes.
I was overwhelmed with everything, and I'm like crying.
And she
she's
can
like
dress and
holding
everything.
me.
Auntie's
Oh, yeah.
just, yeah.
And
She
she, you know,
dress.
Yes.
she never ages. We always talk about
Yeah.
her.
She be trying to tell me about what I'm wearing when I'm on the show all the time. She's like, you look uncomfortable. Maybe wear something else. I'm like, Mom, you know what? You got it. No, but yes, my
Happy
mom.
Mother's Day.
Happy
Auntie Abu.
Mother's
Yes.
Day to all of the mothers on this panel. Happy Mother's Day to y'all's mothers and your mother, Auntie Shada, and all of my aunties, because y'all, at this point, like, I feel like y'all are my family too, honestly. And shout out to my mom. I want to shout out her book. She wrote a book recently actually detailing the experience of women during the civil wars in Sudan, and it's called Women Caught in the Crossfire. And I think it really resonates with everything that we talked about as far as the older generation experience, how a lot of the times that's not detailed or that hasn't been like documented. But she wrote a book about her experience. So if you're interested in hearing what the woman went through, please get her book. It's called Women Caught in the Crossfire, and you can find it at womencaughtinthecrossfire.com. And we'll post a link here on
Yes,
this. So thank you
yeah.
guys.
And I just want to shout my mom out. I just admire everything about how regal and elegant and how my mom has lived a life of service. She's worked in nonprofit for the last 24 years, and just watching her every day be so selfless and still come home and cook all of my favorite moulas. And when I forget my lunch money, driving all the way to the school, and I don't want to cry because I'm a crier. But
What I love about Auntie Shada, she's like strict. She has a strict energy, but still soft and still like motherly. Like she gonna make sure you're together, but also as a like in this motherly figure.
Yeah, she didn't play.
Until to this day, when I go to her house, I'm like, my auntie. She's like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, like, but I'm still like, I gotta act right when I come to the house.
One thing about my mom is she was on me, and sometimes I'm like, okay, it's too much, it's enough, but it all is
Worked
worth
out
it
for the better.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry, y'all.
That's beautiful.
I love you and Auntie Shada. Like you
Thank
are your
you.
mom.
Yeah,
You're such.
I-
She's
I
such an
really
embodiment
hope
of
to
her
be
mom.
who
Yeah,
my mom is,
'Cause
because
her-
she's a good one.
that like stern like figure, but also still like calm and still sweet. Like you encompass all of that.
Yeah, she looks tough, but she be crying.
She's a
Yeah.
sweetheart. Really, truly. I really see your mom in
Yeah. So
yeah. So ooh, damn. Okay, well,
moms
that's
are
way to end the
everything. Like that's the glue of the family.
Yes.
Like moms are everything. Without mom, nothing's
The
gonna work.
pillars of our family.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
everything that our
moms.
parents went through. Thank you guys for sharing your experience. It's not easy to talk about stuff like this as a community, because you know our community is like reputation based and how you're viewed, the optics, and that the fact that you guys are willing to talk about certain things that are not comfortable. We want to applaud you guys. Thank you guys. Can we give them a round of applause?
It's a very good question.
Come on, we have a whole studio audience today. But thank you guys so much. And make sure you guys leave your comments on this episode. Mothers, let us know your experience and like what you're going through. And thank you guys so much again.
Yes, this was so good.
This is amazing.
I learned so much about a different side of you guys that we don't typically see. So
Yes, and when I become a mother, I feel like I'm gonna keep watching these episodes, like the other one that we did, and then this one.
Oh, we're gonna be calling you.
Oh, and we're gonna keep doing this. Yes, I need support. takes a village. It needs a village.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment. Follow us on all the social media platforms, Ladies of Sosa, and make sure to follow them. We're gonna leave.
Yeah, they're gonna be
below.
in the description below. All of their tags.
Yes, and thank you so much for watching. Tune into the next episode, Ladies of Sosa. We love you guys.
Bye.